We now have a Facebook group called the Dumpster Diving Network, where 8,000 Canadians share tips on how they can climb into a garbage can and pull out food to feed themselves because they can't afford the groceries, there's nothing left on the shelves at the local food bank, and therefore people have to go digging in garbage. This is the dumpster economy.
This is a dumpster fire economy floating down or up creek. You know which creek. Talking about this morning, and I want to dive more into this. This is the inflation rate that just got announced today. CBC News reporting on this one. Canada's annual inflation rate slowed to 2.8% in February, helped by a deceleration in the cost of cellular services, groceries, and in internet access services, says Statistics Canada. Now, it's incredible, really incredible how much they'll flub this stuff, and it'll catch everybody off guard. Here's Marty up north talking about them weighing the 8 major items in the Consumer Price Index basket of goods. It's not been revised since 2022. You know, I'm going to be talking with Marty about this one in a couple of days. Be sure to check that out Thursday morning, and this is definitely going to be coming up. But this is the link that he gave, and this is the analysis of the 2023 Consumer Price Index basket update. If you're unfamiliar with how this stuff works, it's the basket of goods. This is how they measure inflation. Now, the actual measure for inflation is the monetary supply. How much money did they print and put out there to dilute everybody's money? But this is how they end up measuring the effects of it. This is really just the measurement of the effects of it. And this they don't even get right. An analysis of the 2023 Consumer Price Index basket update based on 2022 expenditures. Now, I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can read all the introduction, how this all works. But what they do is they lay it out for you how this system works. You've got a basket of goods. There's a bunch of goods in it. They call it a fixed basket. It's supposed to be fixed because it's supposed to be the same things all the time in this basket of goods. Then they measure that basket of goods over the years and see how much is it increased in price per item. Now, this is where it gets fishy. The importance of updating the basket weights. Now, what is this? The CPI is a weighted average of the price changes of a fixed basket of goods and services based on the expenditures of a target population in a given reference period. In order to be representative of the price change experienced by Canadians, the basket weights must be representative to how Canadians are spending their money. Now, I'll give you the TLDR. What they do is they change how much of each item is in the basket in order to, change because your spending habits have changed. Now, your spending habits, maybe they changed because those items became more expensive, but they're just going to change how much they actually weigh inside the basket based on a percentage. Again, link is in the description down below. If you disagree with me, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. But here's an index where they give all the different items that are in here. Now, they don't give the particulars of the items. That I'm really going to have to dig for. But what they'll do is they'll say food. So food purchased from stores, purchased from restaurants, split into these two categories, but then also in its own category all on its own. Now, they'll show you that, the percentage of it is weighed depending on, and over the years since 2011, 2020, 2021, 2022, they changed the percentage of these weights depending on how much people are spending of their total balance of their what money they have to spend. Now, it's crazy. A lot of these items, they keep changing. And this is probably where you get some of the transportation. Went from 20% of the basket of goods to 16.94. Why are they changing these? I know they give the reasons up in the explainer up above, but this is where people say, hey, this is kind of strange. Are you flubbing the numbers? And is this how you're flubbing the numbers? Now, Nya Pfannerstill on Twitter posted this thread. I'll leave a link for this one as well. Check this one out. Why the CPI inflation rate is government propaganda. The government weighs each CPI item as a percentage of living expenses. A car is calculated as 15% of CPI, while rent is only 6.7%. If your rent goes up $500, it only registers as $33.50 increase for CPI calculations. That's right. This is crazy. Keep going. These are the major categories of the CPI. Compare the government weighting used in the CPI inflation calculations versus what is actually spent as a part of your monthly budget. The government is full of malarkey. That is the same name as that creek that we're up. By the way, incidentally, if you didn't get the joke in the beginning, when they brag that inflation is down because it's not reflective of real life. That's right. Have roughly calculated the proper weighting for having a roof over your head. This is real rough, but you'll get the idea. The average worker in Canada earns $35.55 an hour times 40 hours a week times 4 weeks. That's $5,300 monthly gross income. That's about $64,000 a year before taxes. But after the government takes their blood, i.e. their taxes, you're left with $48,800 per year, or $4,066 per month. This is average. The average mortgage payment in Canada is this much. Back of a napkin calculation shows real CPI weighting of owned housing is at least 38%. I don't even include insurance, property taxes, maintenance, etc. The government gives only 17%. This is how they're flubbing the numbers. It's absolutely insane. And again, in the basket of goods, they're not even showing like, what are the goods? What are the goods that they include in there? Has it been broccoli since the 1970s? I don't know. We don't know this. I guess we have to do a lot more digging to find out. Now, this is really crazy. This was in response to Marty's tweet from Kevin, We the People, and he's a dad, incidentally. Cheers to all you dads out there. I'm one myself. Marty, the government of Canada has recently erased 25 years of food inflation data. How can we trust anything they say?
April, that the government was deleting its food inflation database, maybe as many as 25 years of food data. Can you tell me if the government followed through and did wipe out that data from their database?
It did, actually. Yeah, it's as a lab, it's been extremely difficult and frankly frustrating to utilize StatScan's data over the last several months. It's been very difficult to know exactly whether or not the food inflation data is actually accurate. We have partners at the lab allowing us to better appreciate what's actually is going on, and we've had meetings with StatScan, but it's been meetings have been challenging, to say the least.
Could they not have maintained that database somehow? You know, what was the reason given? Was this a political decision? You know, obviously, we have record inflation. It just seems with today's technology that's an odd decision to make, to wipe out 25 years worth of food inflation prices.
Would seem a little odd, wouldn't
certainly
it?
As a researcher, it would be critical information to have available.
It would. There's lots of practices, reporting practices at StatScan that really, I think, are questionable. For example, if you just look right now at the data that came out for October numbers, we still don't have the basket of goods for the month of October. We don't know if broccoli went up in October. We're still waiting for that data, and we saw inflation data come out maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So there's these.
Yes, this is the kind of thing that we would like to know. Why are they not transparent about this? Why don't they give us the numbers? Just put them out there. Put them out there and see. Let us know what's in the basket of goods. Well, it's because it's a big problem. Pierre Poilievre jumping on here to talk about how bad our economy is. You saw the clip at the beginning of the show. This is his whole statement here.
After 8 years, this NDP Liberal Prime Minister is not worth the cost. He's not worth the cost of food, which has had the worst inflation in over 4 decades, with 2 million people, a record-smashing number, lining up at food banks across the country. Chaos breaking out the other day at the food bank in Montreal, where the police were forced to intervene as the food had run out and many stomachs were still hungry, waiting in line. A third of charities are turning Canadians away.
I just want to touch on that story, actually. This is from CBC News. You didn't make this up. Growing crowds at Montreal Food Bank expose deeper food insecurity gaps than groups can meet, advocates say. Food banks are way away for politicians to skirt the deeper issues, Food Secure Canada says. Now, a crowd gathered in front of a Park Extension food bank last month, waiting to get a bite to eat. Hundreds more people lined up than expected. On one of the distribution days, some pushed their way towards the doors, trying to get served first. The food bank called 911 to get the situation under control, and the following week, officers were on site for the next giveaway. Each week, Cuisines V Collectives St. Roch, a community kitchen that also operates as a food bank. Sorry if you good people, I hate to butcher your name. Giving out food at the food bank normally hands out food baskets to around 180 families, but on 2 Mondays in February, an estimated 400 people showed up. Many were not registered to receive food, nearly double the number of people the food bank can feed. And this is exactly the situation that we're talking about here.
Because they no longer have the resources to feed them after 8 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister. After 8 years, we now have a Facebook group called the Dumpster Diving Network, where 8,000 Canadians share tips on how they can climb into a garbage can and pull out food to feed themselves because they can't afford the groceries. There's nothing left on the shelves at the local food bank, and therefore people have to go digging in garbage. This is the dumpster economy that the NDP Liberal Prime Minister has given us after 8 years.
And don't forget that it's the Liberal NDP government. It absolutely is. Without Jagmeet Singh holding them together, we wouldn't have confidence in government, and we would go to an election. And we all know where that's going to go. Once that goes to an election, it's not going to be favorable to the Liberals or the NDP looking forward. Now, this is Chrystia Freeland only just last week bragging about all these new affordable homes they're putting up in Victoria, British Columbia. And of course it won't load. It's doing one of those on me.
So glad to be here in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. And I am here at Hudson House. You can see amazing views all around me. This is an apartment building that has 227 apartments for low and middle income Canadians.
Low and middle income Canadians. Well, let's see what low and middle income Canadians are going to end up paying. Kirk Lubimov last week put this up right after she did that. She says today, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland toured an apartment building with the help of the government program, touting it as a success project for low and middle income Canadians. Hey, the prices starting at, if you get a place with no bedrooms, probably just a hallway and a window up in this high rise. Yeah, that's right. It's going to cost you for 330 square feet the reasonable sum price of $1,680 a month. That's crazy. No bedrooms, still a little bit bigger with 480 square foot. Yeah, that's going to be $1,825 a month. One bedroom, you add a bedroom to that, it's already $2,600 a month. You go with 2 bedrooms at 816 square foot. That's still not a lot of space, but it's going to be the whopping $3,300 that no Canadians can afford. Are you kidding me? This is just absolutely absurd. And she can't get her numbers straight ever. This is her. This is from Cat Canada, by the way. I'll leave a link in the description for this so you can go share it out. But this is the videos from the counter signal, and this is her calculations of their carbon rebate, as they want to call it, the carbon tax.
That's $1,800 Alberta families won't get. That's $1,120 Ontario families won't get. Cut. All they know how to do.
Excellent. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
So she just brags that Alberta families will get $1,800, but according to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, the carbon tax will cost Alberta families $2,943.
Amazing.
So the Prime Minister takes away $2,943 and gives back $1,800. Mr. Speaker, it's almost like he's a bank robber who thinks that he's virtuous because he tips the teller on the way out the door. Why won't he spike the hike?
Unreal. And this is the reality of it. They just don't know what the heck they're talking about when it comes to finances and in the economy. We are really suffering at this point. It's going to be, we're already in recession. They won't announce it officially, but by all the metrics that are a recession, multiple quarters, at least 2 quarters in a row with negative growth, that is a recession. We're in recession, and it doesn't look like it's gonna end anytime soon, and especially with the spending of this Liberal Party and adding more taxes to everybody. Well, of course, you can rest assured that they're not going to have a hard time. They're getting an automatic pay increase in the next little bit here. So I think they'll enjoy that. But I just want to leave this one with you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trekking.